is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
Bud was the best. I gotta give it to him. Bud the best, but he's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith called out Floyd Mayweather for downplaying Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo. Smith argued that Crawford made history, becoming undisputed in multiple weight divisions, something no other fighter has ever done. He said Crawford built his legacy the hard way and deserves nothing but respect. Smith made it clear this wasn't just another win, it was a defining moment that secured Crawford's place among boxing's all-time greats. No amount of negativity from Mayweather, Smith insisted, could take away from what Crawford achieved.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his...
Jeff Mayweather gave a strong take on Canelo's shocking loss to Crawford, saying it left a permanent mark on Canelo's career. He explained that Canelo was the king of the division, ruling with dominance until Crawford moved up in weight and beat him on his own turf. For Jeff, this wasn't a small blemish, but a permanent stain on Canelo's record. He stressed that great fighters are remembered for defining moments, and unfortunately for Canelo, his defining moment turned out to be a crushing defeat at the hands of Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever and an absolute master in b-ball. He went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith couldn't hide his excitement after witnessing Crawford's win firsthand. He said no one in boxing history has done what Crawford just pulled off, moving up in weight and convincingly beating a dominant champion like Canelo. Smith called it a career-defining performance that separates Crawford from everyone else. He said this victory wasn't just a fight, but a turning point in how greatness will be judged in boxing, making it a night that will be remembered forever.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because he only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there. Because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
After the fight, Crawford's trainer made it clear his fighter has nothing left to prove. In his eyes, Crawford has already earned unquestionable respect, even if some critics still refuse to give it. He voiced frustration that despite dismantling one of boxing's biggest stars, Crawford still has to fight against outside opinions. The trainer also revealed Crawford isn't even thinking about another match right now. Beating Canelo, he said, was more than enough to cement Crawford's legacy once and for all.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, was one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who is 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford, and they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to boxing,
Timothy Bradley gave one of the boldest takes, putting Crawford's name alongside Floyd Mayweather in the greatest of all-time debate. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo, it was about redefining what pound for pound number one truly means. He explained that while Floyd mastered his era, Crawford just proved he could do it on an even higher level, beating Canelo when he was at his best. In Bradley's view, Crawford's victory pushed him into a rare category reserved only for the sport's absolute legends.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. took a more balanced view, pointing out a big difference between Mayweather's win over Canelo and Crawford's. He explained that Floyd faced a young, inexperienced Canelo and used his skill and IQ to beat him. Crawford, on the other hand, fought a fully mature, dominant version of Canelo one who had been ruling the division for years. Despite being a smaller man, Crawford still broke him down. For Roy, that makes Crawford's win far more impressive because he beat a stronger, wiser, and sharper version of Canelo that Floyd ever faced.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it. And he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes. And this is
Duke McKenzie was blown away by what he saw in the ring. To him, Canelo had no answers for Crawford's speed, accuracy, and non-stop pressure. He called the performance unbelievable, one of the most complete displays modern boxing has ever seen. McKenzie pointed out that Crawford not only became undisputed, but also proved he's nearly unbeatable, even against elite opponents. With a mix of awe and respect, McKenzie said Crawford has now set a standard so high that very few fighters, if any, will ever reach it.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. There's a discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win.
Trainer Robert Garcia gave one of the strongest praises of Crawford's greatness, saying he accomplished something even Floyd Mayweather never did. Garcia noted that Crawford clearly won 9 or 10 rounds against Canelo, showing a hunger and fearlessness that Floyd never displayed at such high risk. He stressed that Mayweather never moved up to dominate a bigger champion in this way, which makes Crawford's win both unique and historic. For Garcia, this wasn't just about belts or numbers, it was about daring to take risks and succeeding, the very thing that separates icons from true legends.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, 3-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3-division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, if he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But
Brian Norman Sr. didn't mince words, declaring that Crawford's dismantling of Canelo was far more punishing than anything Mayweather ever handed out. His take struck a chord with fans and analysts alike because it spoke directly to the reality of the fight. Canelo, long seen as the ruler of his division, wasn't just beaten. He was broken down by a man who had moved up to weight classes to face him. Crawford delivered a masterclass that redefined greatness in modern boxing. For years, Canelo stood as the face of the sport, taking on big names and cementing his place as one of the era's most dominant and marketable champions. He seemed untouchable, his power and pressure overwhelming nearly everyone. Yet in one night, Crawford shattered that image. What shocked the world wasn't just the loss, but how it happened. Canelo wasn't narrowly outpointed. He was outclassed, with no answers from start to finish.
I bet against Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud's the best, but he's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease.
Right.
You got to respect it.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you want it tonight?
He won the fight by paying Canelo respect. I think he was already in Canelo head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was, I'm sorry, not Canelo. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Yeah, Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather. Having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's opinionated situation with the styles they fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing. With the styles they fight, you just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Yeah,
well,
different eras. It's a different a lot of things. You can't.
Andre Ward, a legend himself, put Crawford's victory in a proper historical perspective. He called it a generational fight, the kind fans will look back on decades from now as a true turning point in boxing. Ward said moments like these are what define careers and separate great fighters from timeless legends. What impressed him most was Crawford's discipline, staying sharp, calm, and focused the entire fight, never letting emotions take over. For Ward, this was a goated moment that firmly places Crawford among the greatest ever. By dismantling Canelo the way he did, Crawford rose to a level that only a handful of fighters in history have ever reached.
Beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing. Yeah.
How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there.
How special? You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So, what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?